What's up, y'all? Who am I? Let me back up so you can see. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of InTheImageClothingCompany. Now you know. Who's the guy with no head at the beginning? This is a video under the main side of InTheImageClothingCompany. There's 4 sides to InTheImageClothingCompany. Boy, do I say our company name a lot. That's because you can find all that we do under our 5-word name, okay? What we do here, though, on the main side of InTheImageClothingCompany is allow the body to work. We allow the human body to work. We come at it through clothing. We come at it in the ways it needs to be able to be happened. Yikes. This video is going to be big because this is what I mean. You can only allow the human body to work. You can never train the human being. It's physically impossible. It's a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. There's just a neutral to everything in the body and a center line to the human body on Earth's gravity, which has a center that it pulls down on everything with, okay? So, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw are in the center of the body. The jaw stabilizes the entire body, not just the head. The feet. At the base of our bodies, they grip arches inward, opposing the center line, and they keep us vertical on Earth's gravity. This video is about the feet. We got a lot of videos about the feet. We have hundreds of videos as of today's date. A lot of them involve the feet, but everything we ever talk about within the body, it has to start at the feet. On Earth's gravity, they're our foundation, they're our base, they are where we are supported from, and then we go up from there through the body. But this video is actually titled Keeping Heels on the Ground. And I'm going to discuss this in a way where we can be very, very athletic and how to understand it. Not how to do it. You can never train the human being. You can never get it to do anything. There's a neutral in everything, and there's no way to train to that or get there besides just releasing scar tissue or patterning, right? Chronic patterning and scar tissue is what we talk about. Oversized clothing. Imbalances in clothing. Ropes introduced to the body, like shoelaces or drawstrings, or any kind of rope in any kind of way, right, introduced to the body. If it's not even centered and balanced in the way the human body works, then it's going to alter how the body works. And we can get into chronic patterning in our bodies, like a twist, okay? And scar tissue gets built up. And that's really what we do here under the main side of InTheImageClothingCompany, is get out of these chronic patternings and scar tissue caused by clothing, imbalances, but also the right-handed world, and then just living our lives. We talk about eating, sleeping, standing, walking, sitting, breathing, hydration, everything we do as a human being. But we're always physically inside of the only thing physically placed on us when we're just a physical mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space, and that's clothing. Clothing's the only thing physically placed on us. It truly is the only fix to human beings' physical problems. There's a lot going on in clothing nowadays. Stretch that didn't even exist decades ago from today's date back. It's the 15th of November 2025 today. I normally say that at the beginning, and I don't think that I did. If I did, I've said it twice, but hey, there you go. Stretch goes the opposite direction of the only way muscles could ever work, okay? There's opposing muscles in the body, and one side contracts, because that's all muscles do, shorten, while the other side relaxes, and then a function happens. Now this side can contract or work while the other side relaxes, and then the opposing function happens, okay, like contracting or extending the elbow, okay? The human body only pulls. A video under the main side of InTheImageClothingCompany I filmed yesterday, actually, here in St. George, Utah. Shout out to where we're based, Utah, southern Utah. But the body only ever pulls because it just takes musculature and connects 2 endpoints and pulls them together, okay? Even a push is just an extension of a hinge where muscles are pulling, okay? So, all musculature in the body, in the ways that it does, it really does, connects to the center line of the body. It's beautiful to see button-ups be worn when they're centered, because then you can tell there's a center line to the human body. Okay, where these buttons are here on my shirt, top or shirt. Okay, this thing I'm wearing, that's the center line of my body. I'm the founder of InTheImageClothingCompany, in this for life. My name is Evan Strong. When I wear clothing, I'm very, 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 very intentional. Okay, just for the sake of, you can see what I'm showing, and there's your context. I'm being able to watch the center line of the body when I wear button-ups, just as the founder, right? I preach what I have practiced when it comes to In The Image Clothing Company. Yes, that's beautiful, okay? It's especially beautiful because I just bought this button-up shirt as I walked over here at a thrift store, and I felt so strongly that I needed to buy it, and it's great. I'll just have it now to wear, and I'm wearing it right now. But even for this video, you'll be able to see the center line, and then even just being able to discuss it, and I just barely picked it up on my way over here on my feet, okay? Cool stuff, cool stuff. So, musculature connects from the outside of the shoulder into the center line of the body at the sternum. In the center in the front, it pulls in on both sides evenly. The muscles, okay, to the center line of the body. Center line of the body. Center line of the body. Watch the buttons on the shirt for this video. And anytime you see me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, wearing button-up shirts, or In The Image Clothing Company button-ups, they'll always stay centered, because that's what clothing has to do, is stay centered, fit correct, and be made from 100% natural materials. I choked. I've got this dirt under my nails. But stretch comes with these unnatural materials. It goes the opposite direction of how muscles contract. And not only in the front do we have muscles connecting to the center of the body, and arches gripping inward at the base of our foundation, but in the rear we have muscles connecting from the outside of the shoulder into the center and the spine on both sides. Contracting evenly, clothing has to fit. Okay? Clothing has to stay centered. I'm not doing this out of my own doings. I'm praying through this. The whole video, and just even picking this location, and this video specifically making it right now, I'm putting so much focus on staying centered in this, and that's the whole point. You have to. There's just contraction on both sides to a center line, and we talk about that. That's what we're founded upon as In The Image Clothing Company. Allowing the body to work, that's how you do it, is staying centered. And we talk about it, but I'm putting so much focus on it with this specific button-up shirt for some reason. Also, I just felt, like I said, that I had to purchase it right now, and it was great. It was a good experience. So we'll see what comes from this shirt, specifically in this video, specifically about this shirt, okay? Wow. But there you go. We need to stay centered. We give a lot of free modifications in clothing. We talk about the anatomy of the human body in depth. We allow the human body to work. And our feet need to be on the ground. We have a lot of videos under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here, titled Things About the Feet, the importance of zero drop shoes, the term zero dropping from the toe area to the heel area, flat, okay? These are actually Zero shoes, the brand. These are the Ridgeways. Shout out to Zero shoes. They are amazing. No affiliation as of this video or up until, but Zero shoes does an amazing job with living life feet first, which is what they say, and that's what we do here, allowing the body to work in The Image Clothing Company. Okay, good mesh of people doing good things. I love their products. But it doesn't matter the brand of shoe necessarily. This is an amazing brand, but keeping the feet flat on the earth, okay? You have to, because that's how they would always work until we had anything man-made placed onto us that could be altering the body in any way. Okay. Always stop laces at ankle flexion. A video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We lace our shoes and we stop it at the angle of the ankle. Okay? We've got a lot of videos about the feet. In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, one of our 2 prerequisites, in addition to where we just discussed clothing has to sit for everybody because it's just a physical thing placed on a mechanical human body, and there's a universal human design designed in the image of Jesus Christ, in the image of God, in the Image Clothing Company. There's this universal structure to the body, and that's how we know how the body works, and it applies to everybody. So clothing sits in the same location for everybody, and we discuss it and make it very clear. In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique is the only way we can weave a rope across the top of our feet and not alter those gripped arches and all the mechanics, bones, ligaments, tendons, and muscles in the feet that travel up to the tip of the head and to the tips of the fingers, okay? So, there is only one way the human feet are shaped. A video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. The importance of the proper height socks. A video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. Okay. These are some of the videos about the feet specifically and shoes. The height of a gripped arch. A video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. Okay. So our feet grip arches and they point forward straight out from those pinky toes. Like the hand. Okay. The hands are basically the same thing as the feet. There's only one difference in the amount of bones in the hands and the feet. They both grip to a neutral in a sense, like this, if we're gripping the hand like this, but this is how the foot works. Neutral, straight forward out the pinky toe for the feet, and straight out the pinky finger is the neutral wrist from the outside of the forearm, okay? So, there's rotations in the body. The body's really about rotations in a lot of ways, okay? From the hands up to the elbows in the forearms, we have a neutral from these thumbs up like this with my forearms forward, bent at my elbows, okay? Keeping elbows at the natural waist, a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. From the fingertips to the elbow, from the neutral in the forearms, there's internal rotation. And then, back to the neutral, there's external rotation, okay? From the hand up to the shoulder, the entire arm as a whole, neutral, there's internal rotation. And then back to neutral, there's external rotation. There's only one way the human body could ever work. It's a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. Don't believe me, don't believe In The Image Clothing Company, no opinion. You can only ever allow the human body to work. No other possible approach could help you. Truly. God designed it to work. We live in a modern man-made world. We live in a right-handed world. A lot of times we're so much more external on the right side with our rotation, dropped lower just because that's what will happen with the musculature that only connects to the center line of the body up here at the shoulder area, and the hand is essentially the shoulder, as the feet are essentially the hips. As you see here with the rotations, the shoulder does exactly what the hand does when my arm is locked out at the elbow. Okay, so what we have is a right-handed world. 85%, give or take, of human beings are right-handed. So we get into this patterning, external, dropped, and away from the body on the right side. Okay, oversized clothing, falling to our dominant side on the right. If we're tying shoelaces or drawstrings or any ropes unevenly, when there's a center line of the body, if we're tying a right-handed knot and putting the right side of the rope over the left, we're just rotating our whole bodies. At the hips, that goes out to the feet or out to the fingers. At the shoes, both tied to one side in a right-handed knot, our bodies will be rotated to the right. When there's a center line to the body, these sound effects, they just come out. Okay? Only one way the human body could ever work. Centered, neutral, even, vertical, Earth's gravity, and a lot of that has to do with rotations. In the foot to the knee. It's like the forearm. Straight forward from the pinky toe, and then there's internal rotation and external rotation from just this lower leg alone, okay? From the foot to the hip as a whole, there's internal rotation from the neutral, pinky toe forward, back to the neutral. There is external rotation, okay? This is on both sides of the body, okay? And in all senses of how the human being works, there's only one way the human body could ever work. So, let's get to this video's topic. Keeping heels on the ground. It makes sense, you know, if you understand what we talk about with shoes, if we have a man-made thing, it's got to just accommodate for how the body works. The body's not man-made. You know, we didn't like build ourselves. We just kind of happened to grow inside of our mother's womb. God just does what he does, and he causes all this to happen without us doing anything. We cannot damage the body, and we have no say over how it works, okay? We have no say. An episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, another one of our fourths, where we have deep discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. We're all human beings. We're all on the same earth. We're designed by one God. We discuss him as he says that he is. We don't do it perfect because we are imperfect as human beings in this life always. But we're on episode 177 as of today's date of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. You don't have to be religious, but it's all here, and so are you. How does it work? Where did it come from? We just discuss life as it is. Okay? Not perfectly. All right? Don't believe me. It is what it is. Truth is truth. Okay? We get down to truth here to the best that we can. All there is truth. How else is there anything if there's nothing? You can't have an opinion on something if there wasn't something first there to have an opinion on. Yikes. Okay? In the Image Clothing Company podcast, a lot of cool stuff gets discussed there, seriously. But we have no say on how the human body could ever work. No say. Not at all. And none. But what we hear a lot of the time when it comes to like being athletic is to be on the balls of our feet. And now that's not the same thing as saying keeping heels on the ground. That's backward. The ball of the foot is not at the heel back here where the lower leg comes down into, but the ball of the foot is up here, right behind the toes. And then the toes themselves would be playing into the balls of the feet. Okay, arches grip inward. There's this void space inside here, okay, on the inside of the foot, because we pull in from the outside toes because the inside elevates. Okay, now we're neutral. I mean, I wouldn't be, in this position if I were standing, quite, but basically like this, neutral, straightforward, out that pinky toe. Here, I have my heel, listen, on the ground. But here, since my foot grips from the outside of the foot, like this, just like the hand, okay? Follow from the heel of my hand, which is essentially the heel of my foot being on the ground, and you follow that up the outside of the foot to the end of the pinky toe, which is the shortest toe, and we grip inward with the whole outside of the foot touching the ground, and then the inside of the foot elevates. Now we have a good solid gripped arch, neutral, straightforward pinky toe. Okay, the importance of even ankle flexion. Dorsiflexion, lifting the toes. Plantar flexion, pointing the toes. Okay, that's a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. The importance of even Achilles tendon insertions. Back here on the rear of our lower leg, we have a calf muscle that connects from the knee joint down to the Achilles tendon, which connects to the heel of the foot. Okay, muscles are connected to bones through a tendon. We talk a lot about the Achilles tendon. A deep discussion on the right Achilles tendon. A video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. In this right-handed world, the right insertion to the muscle of the rear of the lower leg to the heel of our foot, the Achilles tendon, really gets altered if we're just in a right-handed patterning. Our weight and our center of gravity is off to the side in our bodies when Earth's center of gravity remains, okay? So we get a lot of scar tissue built up on the rear of the right Achilles tendon, on the outside of it, on the right heel of our right foot. There's only one heel to the right foot, but yes. Humbling. I didn't know what I was even going to film when I started out on this walk. I didn't know I was going to end up with this shirt when I started out on this walk. Okay, so neutrals. The body's about its neutrals. It's about the center line. It's about allowing it to work. It's about being very intentional about anything we ever place on it. But here's the thing with the feet arches. Okay? Keeping feet in the outside of shoes. A video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company because of what I'm saying here. Okay? Neutral. Straightforward. Out that pinky toe. is the outside of the foot having pressure on the ground from the heel of the foot out to the end of the pinky toe, and then we can pull in from there with that, the outside of the foot. Now you got a gripped arch, okay, that rises the height of a gripped arch. Okay, that's why that video is titled that, under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. So, what creates an arch and that springing ability that comes from the height and those muscles underneath and tendons contracting, shortening? The human body only pulls, truly, right? Muscles are just pulling from the toe area to the heel area underneath the foot. And then we have this springing ability of the foot, okay? But that can only happen if we have contact with the ground, with the heel on the ground. Now we can grip. If you lift your heel off the ground, there's nothing to grip. The whole outside of the foot needs to be on the ground to grip inward. And I can just dig a hole here, gripping inward, okay? With my foot arch. Feet, grip arches inward, opposing the center line, and keeping us vertical on Earth's gravity. That's what I say, right? That's how I have been explaining it up until today's date, at least, okay? Shout out to the overcast, seriously. Yeah, rare to have that be the case in Utah. Usually clear blue skies. For most of the year, at least most of the time. Anyway, we have to have our heels of our feet on the ground. But now, how does this make sense when people talk about being athletic or an athletic stance or staying on the balls of your feet and keeping your feet activated? Well, that's the whole point, is if you're within shoes that have any type of heel on them whatsoever, you just alter the positioning of all the mechanics of the foot. And I can't grip because I don't have my heel to anchor with, right? I mean, front to back, the foot has to pivot like this or rotate. Look at this. Neutral, internal rotation, neutral, external rotation, and that's coming from the heel. Just because we have two bones in the lower leg coming down from the knee, and they come to the very rear of the foot. And from there forward, we're rotating around the heel of our foot. And so we need contact on the heel of our foot for our balls of our feet, but really even all the way out to the toes, to be able to get onto the ground and then grip the whole foot together. Otherwise, there's no real gripping that can happen, because that's what happens. The toes are pulling to the heel because they're both, meaning the front and the rear of the foot, both are on the ground and they can pull together, okay? It's like having your fingertips on the ground and you try to grip versus having your hands on the ground and you can really grip, right? Keeping your feet on the balls of your feet, right? Or keeping the weight on the balls of your feet, like a lot of people say, you know, give advice through fitness, that's not actually going to be able to do much of anything besides strain your calf muscles and just change the natural positioning on Earth's gravity through the entire body, okay? You go up onto the balls of your feet and you take this perpendicular position of the lower leg coming down, meeting the horizontal earth, okay? Vertical lower leg, horizontal foot. This is neutral from dorsiflexion or plantar flexion. We need to keep our bodies in their neutrals at all times, and that happens by keeping the heels on the ground, okay? Otherwise, you're just partially out of your neutral position if you have your balls of your feet only up on the ground. So there's a lot that comes with this, and again, you know, don't believe me. I know I say things that are a lot different than a lot of people, but I really speak it as it is, and that's why I say it so thoroughly and spend the amount of time discussing it when I discuss the things that I do as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Hi, my name is Evan Strong. I'm in this for life, okay? This is the truth, though. Because this is how the body would and can only ever work. But if it's altered by things in a modern man-made world placed onto God's natural earth, and it's a right-handed patterning we're in, or we just elevate our heels off the ground, then we'll try to think up how to get into an athletic stance, or how to keep our bodies active during an exercise, or how to stay on the balls of our feet when the human body can only ever work activated as a whole. Everything's there. It's all having its own individual role to play. There's no dead weight that we can just drag around in the body. There's only one way the human body could ever work. All together. No opinion. No possible opinion. No possible opinion. We didn't come up with something, as In The Image Clothing Company, or me, Evan Strong, as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. It's always on the back end. God designed all this. We designed products in life. Take all the products we designed away and God's design works. The human being. God doesn't make mistakes. Look at all the animals out there just working. They don't have to consciously be like, all right, let me get in an active stance and be on the balls of my feet because I'm going to have to run away from something. They're just always ready to go. I mean, you startle a cat and the cat jumps like 6 feet in the air, literally. Out of nowhere. It didn't have to like warm up and activate the arches in its feet and get on the balls of its feet first and prepare to play a sport. No, the cat's always activated as a whole. Except collars. Check this segue out, no joke. In The Image Clothing Company, poodles, not quite cats, but another fourth of our company, In The Image Clothing Company, is In The Image Clothing Company poodles. We specialize in purebred standard poodles. We breed them, we register them properly. We advocate for being a good owner of dogs and how to. We keep less dogs in shelters and more dogs at homes. But a lot of what we do is just the physicality of the dog. Okay, letting dogs stay natural. The same thing as allowing the body to work for human beings, but it's just phrased differently because it's an entire separate fourth of our company that's still encapsulated with all that we are as a whole, all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company. So, letting dogs stay natural, keeping collars centered, applies to both dogs and human beings. We've got In The Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification, and we just talk about keeping our collars centered, but dogs usually have very much more of an imbalance coming from their collars. It's altering their entire bodies and their entire life. Okay. So there you go. My segue, because, I was talking about cats, and how the cat's activated through its whole body. We could say the same thing about a dog, unless you place a collar on the rear of its neck and deactivate parts of its body when there's only a neutral to how the body works. Dogs are no different. Okay, it's just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. The dogs. We talk about interacting with our dogs as the owner so our bodies don't get altered, and the height of dogs versus the height of the owner. Lots of things. Poodle parade events here in the state of Utah, the United States of America. Come, bring your poodles, purebred of any size or mixed poodles of any size. Check scheduling under InTheImageClothingCompany.com. Okay, because a lot of what we'll do there is get people into nature, get dogs into nature. We'll just do a lot of, getting people back to their authentic roots and having a good time with some good people. Okay, here in the state of Utah, the United States of America. It's beautiful. Okay, I mean, our videos here are filmed in the state of Utah, so there's a lot of context. I do so many videos outside where I can. That's where I prefer to do anything and everything that I ever could, besides maybe sleep if it's like storming or cold or something, right? But a lot of context on what it looks like here in Utah, and if you're from Utah, you already know to the degree that you do. But there you go, poodle parade events. Okay, one of the events we do, and one of the things that we have to be able to get people together and just have a really good time is the point, truly. A lot for the environment and the ways that we do as well. So check it out. But the feet just need to be activated, and they're only going to be able to do that in their neutral because there's two sides to a neutral. And the neutral is that perpendicular angle, okay? Straight down the lower leg vertical, okay, give or take, but just with the body standing up, meaning there's going to be a slight bend in the knee just so it's activated, so the leg won't be, say, like perfectly vertical, okay? But then coming down to the foot, it needs to be horizontal on the earth, okay? And then there's a lot of rotations, and there's a lot of function through the rest of the body traveling up if we keep our heels on the ground. But then how does this allow us to be athletic? Because why are all these people, sports coaches and personal trainers and whoever it is, telling people to get on the balls of their feet and stay activated? Well, it comes from your pelvis, down. It comes from your shoulders, down. It comes from your hands, down, okay? Because, you know, we talk about where clothing sits for everyone. And a lot of times what I'm doing is discussing that everything up here in the body comes from the feet first, because they're the foundation on Earth's gravity, and then it travels up. But it travels the other way as well, and I discuss it on that end too. But sometimes we don't understand that. Something like an oversized top pulling down on our shoulders can collapse the arches in our feet. Because if our shoulders aren't neutral, our feet can't be either. The human body only ever works activated as a whole. Watch this. My foot, this is kind of like a pretty like deep range of motion to show this in for the mobility, but if my foot's flat on the ground and my heel is on the ground, it's like my shoulder being in its neutral position, okay? Foot on the ground, fully flat, horizontal with Earth's gravity, okay, just on the surface of the earth. No heels under the feet. The importance of zero drop shoes, the term, okay? Front to back, level. Heels on the ground of the feet. Shoulders can be neutral. And then from here, if I lift my toes or dorsiflex my foot, it's like my shoulder coming up. And then I put my foot back down, my shoulder's neutral. Again, this is kind of an uncomfortable, just meaning really deep range of motion to try to show this in, but I can show it still like this. At the neutral now, foot flat on the ground, heel on the ground, keeping heels on the ground. My shoulder's neutral. Now from here, if I point my toes or plantar flex my feet, it's like my shoulder going down. Okay, you can watch with the wrist too. It's like a, you know, it's cool. It's a mechanical machine. It's like I'm doing like a song and dance kind of thing, but that's how the human body works. This is what I mean. There's no possible way to train it. I mean, there's no possible opinion to have either. But the only way you'll ever know that, and the only way you'll ever have, you know, the possibility to have freedom of pain. Yeah. Right, which is really the point. Allowing the body to work, it's our vessel. Yeah, shoot. As a vessel, as an episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, the human body is what God gave us to go across the earth with. Anywhere you go, there you are, but you have to go there. You've got to take your body somewhere for you being encapsulated within your body to go as well, right? And so it's great and it's ideal, and really it's the point for our bodies to be able to move. And we get it, you know, amputations, deformities, major surgeries, birth defects, whatever it is like this, anything similar. You've got an altered body, you do, sure. But there's a universal human design, and how all of our bodies will always work the best is getting as close as we can in our own individualistic situations to the universal human body's design anatomy-wise. It's just a lever and hinge rotation system of mechanical operation. On Earth, with gravity that has a center line, which is one of God's laws, that's one of the biggest focuses, is just dealing with gravity. We're not going to escape it on Earth, and it only works how it does. It pulls down on everything the same. The inanimate objects, and then the living animals, and the living human beings, even the living plants, and anything here on the surface of the Earth, or anywhere on the Earth, even in the atmosphere. I mean, you know, we can really get deep with it. A lot of what we do as human beings is just dealing with gravity. And there's a center to gravity. And because of that, we got to stay vertical. And that's only going to happen in the body if the heels are on the ground. You point your toes and you fall backward. unless compensation happens in the body to keep you over Earth's center of gravity. Okay? Pointing your toes is just like having a heel under your foot. I'm going to fall back. If I sit like this, I'm not going to be able to hold myself up because mechanically I'm outside of my neutral position, flat on the earth with my heel on the ground. I can sit like this for quite a long time, but look at this position. That's what I mean. Sitting here or here, which I could hold this position. Well, I'm holding this position through the entire video until now. I'm not winded, I'm not fatigued, I'm not straining my body to try to sit like this. I'm just on Earth's gravity. My center of gravity is right beneath me, where I'm supported, okay? Because you can watch my wrists, and they're neutral, okay? You can watch my shoulder height, and it's neutral. That's how you know my lower body's working properly, okay? It goes through the entire body. You can only ever approach the body as an entirety. It's all there, okay? Yeah. In this, it's just so, it's so big. There's no way you'll ever train your shoulders. There's no way you'll ever train your back. There's no way you'll ever train your hamstrings or your quads without training everything else in your body that's supporting your body to allow this to happen. And you can't train your body other than just getting stronger in its only working position. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion. That's why it doesn't work. All the workouts and the stretches and the chiropractors, the physical therapists, whatever, and who cares? We don't have a say. And I don't have anything I'm selling. It's not a sales pitch. It's the truth. I mean, sure, we'll always have In The Image Clothing Company clothing and dog products, and they'll be great. But as of today's date, we don't. And we have so many free modifications, it's just about the human body's natural function. Natural, neutral, and normal are synonyms within the human body and how it works. And there's only one way the human body could ever work. No opinion possible. I didn't design it. We didn't design it. We can't decide it. That's an episode title of In The Image Clothing Company podcast. Right? That's the case for the earth, for the human body, for all the things that were here before us and will be here after. Because we're just here in between. In this position, my feet are on the ground. The same way, if you can see this, I don't want to drag my boot across the ground here, but I'll just kind of move it as if it's just staying on the ground. And from my heel to the tip of my pinky toe, where that arch grips inward from, if I go from this position that I'm just sitting in, I'm already in that position in the foot. The whole outside of the foot's on the ground here, as it is here. What's up? Neutral, okay? Mechanical machine. There's only one way the human body could ever work. I could never overuse that phrase. Okay? That could almost be like our company's slogan. There's only one way the human body could ever work. It's the same thing as our actual slogan, allowing the body to work. It's because you just let it do its thing and it'll do it because there's only one way it could. So don't get in the way, right? Speaking to myself or anyone else, and I was in the way of my own body working for so many years, but I didn't know how it worked. We just have to know the anatomy of the human body to enough of a degree to just let it work, and then it just can. If we never wore clothing, our bodies would just work. You know, a lot of it comes from, you know, positions in our life, the ways that we eat, you know, the modern man-made things that we just didn't have in the past, even apart from clothing. We discuss that too under In The Image Clothing Company, but we're always doing these things within clothing, okay? First, before we can address anything outside of ourselves, it's not outside of yourself. An episode of In The Image Clothing Company podcast, that's one of our titles to that. It's only inside your own being. I'm gonna make a video sometime. If I don't, then hey, I'm sorry. I'm not making a promise. I'm saying this is what I'll say instead, actually. I have in my notes written a title for a video to potentially film one day, staying over Earth's center of gravity, okay? Because, you know, that's what we talk about, but Just mechanically, I can get into a lot of deep discussions on that and explanations that we can just, take the information of into our daily lives. And that's the point here. Center of gravity, it's with the heel on the ground as well as the toes. But really the toes that matter the most to keep the heel on the ground is just one toe, the pinky toe. It's like the hands. I mean, you keep your index finger and the heel of your hand on the ground, and well, you can't really do much else because the pinky finger is the shortest. But if we keep our hands on the outside of them, being the thing on the ground, then we have a lot of potential to operate, right? Keeping feet in the outside of shoes, that's because that's where the weight stays and that's where we're neutral. And, involving the pinky finger, a video we have under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company, we need to keep those pinky fingers involved in life because they're the shortest and they're the neutral wrist, okay? And so if we don't keep the pinky finger involved, then we don't have a neutral wrist, and then the hand is the shoulder, and now the shoulder travels down to the foot, and then our foot is altered, and our entire body in between, okay? Fingernails and toenails, they have to be to the tips of the fingers and toes, fully supporting them, cut relatively flat, just so that we can stay in that neutral wrist, okay? If you round your fingernails and toenails, you can just roll out of the neutral wrist or neutral ankle with that gripped arch, okay? So, involving the pinky finger is the same thing as involving the pinky toe. But this only happens on the outside of the feet because they're the shortest toe, the pinkies. And not only are they the shortest toe, but they're just the neutral. And not only that, but that's just where the weight is, because the height of the arch is on the inside of the foot. And not only that, but the toes are just different in length, and so we come from the heel up to the pinky toe, and then we come forward and in, kind of like an arrow, to the center line of the body to get to the big toes. And so if you skip your pinky toe and try to go straight from your heel to your big toe, you'd literally have to lift your foot off the ground unless you just collapse your arch, because the arch grips from the outside of the foot in, only when the heel is on the ground. Just mechanically it has to be like that. Okay, so I'm not trying to be like right, but I want to make it very clear, it's not my opinion. The truth is, and don't believe me, let's say I'm entirely wrong, just because I know people don't know this. This is the absolute truth for every human on the face of the planet. All right, I mean, your body can work slightly different or it can be shaped slightly different, but just mechanically, the way that an arch in the foot grips, this is how it works. This is the only way it possibly could. You have to have your heels on the ground. So anybody who tells you to be in an athletic stance and be on the balls of your feet, well, if you go up on the balls of your feet, that's what I just showed. It's like trying to just go from your heel to your toe, the big toe, okay? And if you try to go straight from the heel to the big toe, you can't do it without taking your foot off the ground in a neutral or collapsing the arch, okay? And then the foot sticks out into external rotation. And this is where a lot of this comes from. You have a heel on the shoe, your heels aren't on the ground, keeping heels on the ground. This video is titled, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site. If you lift the heel off the ground, the pinky toe just can't grip the ground. So now you just have your big toe, basically, and whatever other toes could maybe touch the ground as the only things even touching the earth. And they're not even quite, but right with the angle of the heel of a shoe, because the pinky toe is just shorter. It just has to be able to get to the ground. I show it like this with my hands, right? In the height of a gripped arch, okay? If you're not neutral, which comes from the outside of the foot or the outside of the hand, having weight there, from the heel of the hand or the heel of the foot, neutral now, straight forward from the pinky toe. If you're not there because you lift the heel off the ground, the pinky's just too short to reach. The other fingers can touch the ground, but the pinky can't. The pinky finger or the pinky toe. And so now, whoa, your arch collapses and your foot sticks out. Okay? Okay? So in order to ever actually grip an arch in the foot, well, this is no new information. I don't have a breakthrough, but this is how God designed the human body. This is how human beings always were until there were shoes, you know? And there's so many people that just don't wear shoes across the earth too, but, you know, in any current day, and that will always be the case. But that's the only way the human body will actually work, is unaltered. And the feet would always be on the ground unless there was something we strapped to them that was a different angle than just flat. I mean, right? It's just the truth. We just, that's why I say, you know, it's as obvious as it gets. And I'm like screaming about it, you know. It's as real, what do I say? Well, I say it's as real as it gets, but then I also say it's as obvious as it is once you see it. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. That's why my feet feel better after I take my shoes off that have heels on them at the end of the day. Yeah, because there's only one way they could possibly physically, mechanically work. There's only one neutral to flexion of the ankle, up and down, and what you're doing is plantar flexing your ankle when you put a heel under your shoe. Now your foot sticks out just because of the length of the toes is different. And the pinky toe is the shortest, and we have to have the weight on the outside of the foot to get that neutral lower leg that travels up then through the rest of the body, so that we can have a neutral wrist and neutral shoulder height, and you can operate like you see me do, because I just, you know, speak out of experience. This is just how it is mechanically. This is the only way the human body could ever work, is by allowing it to. So we have to keep our heels on the ground. Now I'm in this dirt, sand stuff, you know, southern Utah, St. George red rock dust crumbles from the bigger rocks that have landed down here in this riverbed that just doesn't currently have water flowing through it. I'm here for a reason, in this very specific location in this riverbed sitting on the ground, because the sand is great, or just like loose dirt like this, you know, to show, yeah, little tiny gravelly rocks. I mean, I love it. I love southern Utah, okay, so much. We're based here, as in the Image Clothing Company. I love to be able to show how the feet work when they have to. We have so many, you know, flat flooring options, tile, hardwood, concrete, whatever it is. Carpet's kind of a weird thing in itself. Usually synthetic material is what carpet's made out of anyway, and so, you know, sand is a cool thing to be able to show the feet having to stabilize because it's unstable, right? It's not like you're walking on solid rock that doesn't move. The sand or similar material to what I'm in here, it'll move, and so we have to stabilize and activate, which happens because there's opposing muscles, right? The way that we stabilize is because there's two sides to something, and so we can stabilize in the center. And that's what I mean. The only way you'll ever have a neutral leg, really foot is what I mean, but then traveling up through the whole body, is with the heel on the ground, okay? But I'll stand up, I'll move, I'll do some cool things. I'm very athletic, very physically capable. And I'll show the difference between what it would be like if I were to be on the balls of my feet with this false advice. And, you know, we can't be held accountable for what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, right? But a lot of people are giving a lot of false advice, and it's damaging people's bodies, and they'll just never get it to happen. You know, they're training it and training it and training it, and they're so frustrated saying, I can't stay on the balls of my feet. No, you can't. You cannot. Physically, mechanically, you cannot. No human could. Well, you know, the universal human design, it can't. Whether it's gravity, you can't. Yeah, the balls of your feet, you're pushing your body backward unless you compensate with the upper body, just to stay over Earth's center of gravity. Perpendicular angle. Like a 90 degree. Besides just the slight bend in the knee, just to keep musculature activated, like the hamstrings and the calf, right? And the arches in the feet themselves, you know, just the whole body activated as a whole. That's just how it would work. The bird made noise. Okay. It's like a right angle. Down from the knee to the heel of the foot, and then out straight forward through that pinky toe. Okay. Just about a right angle. Straight down and then straight out across the earth. Okay. From the knee down to the heel. if you don't have your heels on the ground because you're trying to stay in an athletic stance, this position is the same as, watch my right ankle. This position here is the same as this, watch. Okay, but if your heels are on the ground, now you're on the earth. Otherwise, whoa, you lift your heel off the ground and you fall back. It's mechanics, bro. I mean, there's just only one way the human body could ever work. Now, my human body's clothing has some sand on it more than it did before I laid down like that. Okay, I'll stand up, but even this, to grip arches here, to stand up, you need your heels on the ground. That's exactly what I just showed. You try to stand up just from here, and you'll never do it if your heels can't be on the ground. Okay, here's that angle I'm talking about. Down, forward. Put heels on the shoes, keep your heels, or just even barefooted completely, which is what I am here, right? Zero Shoes, the brand, they have zero drop to their shoes, so they're just flat on the ground. It's essentially like I'm barefooted, especially in the Image Clothing Company shoelace technique. The only way the human feet are shaped, that's why we do it, right? That's why we title it In the Image Clothing Company's shoelacing technique, just the weave of the rope, because it's just like I'm barefooted right now. It's no different in these zero ridgeways than me being barefooted, other than just there's now protection to my feet. And that's the point of shoes, okay? But look, neutral in the wrist, neutral in the whole body when my heels are on the ground. Now I go to an athletic stance, no, I'm on the balls of my feet. That's what the sports coaches say, right? The personal trainers, stay on the balls of your feet, stay activated. In only one end of your neutral though. Here you drop your heels down and your wrists go neutral as well, okay? Because your feet are flat on the ground. The earth is always there, even before we were. Before Abraham is, Jesus Christ, right? He says, before Abraham was, I am. Okay, well that's God, who was always there in the beginning, before anything else, and he created everything. Heaven and earth and all things that in them are. But for human beings, we can say, before we were, the earth was, right? Truth. The earth's always there, and it's always just what it is, a surface for us to put our feet onto, and the heels will be on the ground with the toes. Here, neutral, okay? You get into an athletic stance, so they say it's athletic, meaning you get onto the balls of your feet, and you actually take your body out of its neutral and drop parts of it, just correlating with what you're doing with the feet, pointing your toes or plantar flexing your feet. Okay, watch this. It's the same thing as just having heels on your shoes. But if you already have heels on your shoes and then you try to get on the balls of your feet, you're already, with heels on your shoes, plantar flexed. Look at my wrists, doing what my feet heels do if I were in shoes with heels and my heels were not on the ground. My wrists do the same thing as my feet. Watch this. And now from here, let's say I had heels on my shoes, and I try to get into an athletic stance, is what they call it, and get on the balls of my feet. I'd have to go even higher than the heels of my shoes already are, and I'm already out of my neutrals in my body. So I'd have to go up here. Now you're not in an athletic stance, you're in external rotation. And it's hard to speak even, it's hard to breathe. Your whole body's damaged, because this is your neutral. Heels on the ground. But this is athletic, okay? Like ridiculously athletic. And I am as well. I don't want to like toot my own horn, but seriously, I'm very, 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 very physically capable, okay? And that humbles me because it's just the truth. That's why I sit down and I'm like, shoot, yeah. Because my feet are on the earth from heel to toe, and so they can grip the ground from heel to toe, because that's where the muscles and tendons span from. Heel to toe. They pull together. The human body only pulls. A video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. I've said it in this a few times, okay? In this one video here alone. Anyway, very athletic, by the way. Me, I know what I'm talking about, right? And I made a little like snippet of a video yesterday, and I just don't want to sound prideful, but I want to make it clear so people listen, because what I'm saying is true. It's not about me, but I know what I'm talking about. I'm very, 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 very physically capable, because it's nothing to do with me. It's God's design. I didn't do a single workout to get this capable, you know? It's like, you can't. It's impossible, physically, mechanically. It's just a neutral. But we have to keep those heels on the ground, and then we are athletic, okay? Picture a fighter. I'll get up like this again. I'm in the uneven sand, but I want to show, like, you couldn't do that if your heels weren't on the ground, right? But you picture like a wrestler or like a fighter. You try to get in an athletic stance and be on the balls of your feet. You collapse your knee and your ankle and your hip, and your shoulder deactivates, and out to your hand, the position of the wrist, like I was showing a few minutes ago there, and now you fall like this. From this athletic stance, you barely got any pressure on the ground. You drop your heels down to the ground, now you've got open hips, and now you can really do whatever you need to. I'm not like a fighter or a wrestler, but I just picture like wrestling, right? You've got to be able to be on the ground, and really you're gripping inward with the feet, and that's how you can have such a low, wide stance, because you're gripping in. And there's a lot of like explanation that could be had to the mechanics of that, because your feet are so wide away from your center line of your body, but they're actually gripping inward. It's just because of that video that I referenced, right? Keeping feet in the outside of shoes. We grip, even when we're out here, we're gripping in with our feet. Only if the heels are on the ground. Otherwise, yeah, there's nothing to grip, right? You need an anchor point on both ends. Anchor point at the toe, anchor point at the heel. Now we can grip the muscles from the toe to the heel, pulling together. Otherwise, you just can't. Physically, it just won't happen. Right? I mean, like, physics-wise. Like angles and measurements of that, you know? I mean, I just mean it as real as it is. There's no opinion. There's no approach, right? There's only truth. So, anyway, that's cool. Cool to move around like that and show the documentation. You know, or just meaning document it under video so you can see what I'm saying, more than me just, you know, more than me just sitting here and like reading a book, like, all right, so this muscle in the body connects to this muscle, right? And no, how does the body really work? You know, all opinions aside about what you could do to try to see if it works for you. Some people train this way and it seems to help. No. How does it work? There's only one way. Let's get down to it. But the thing is, clothing's the only thing physically placed on us. That's the only reason the body wouldn't work, is if something was in its way and altering it. So we talk about where clothing sits. We make it very clear, okay? I'm not gonna say it in this unless I end up doing it before I cut this video, but find it, okay? Under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company, and just allow the body to work. And there you go. It'll have to come from having the heels on the ground. Because if I had heels off the ground right now, my body couldn't stay working. It's just an anchor point, you know? The whole outside of the foot. The whole outside of the foot includes the heel. You know? Man, it's humbling, okay? So anyway, we've got another fourth of us in the Image Clothing Company music, the last fourth to mention in this video. What I do is show the sizing and setup of guitar. We make a lot of music there, okay, but we don't want to alter this neutral wrist. We don't want to alter the natural arches in our hand. That only can be there if the arches in our feet are unaltered, okay? Hand arches, the rounding to our hand, the radius in guitar, okay? Yeah. Lyricism, freestyling, right? Rhythm and poetry. spoken word, music, singing, guitar playing, all things that we do through music in the Image Clothing Company music, geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ with the messages. Yeah, I mean, the feet. I don't know, I want to just move. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move, by the way, down to southern Utah. That's why I'm saying it. We're based in southern Utah, as in the Image Clothing Company, but I'm gonna physically do some movement right now, more than what I just did, to just kind of show some context without, you know, at least doing what I can to not fling things into my eyes, okay, like this sandy stuff. But I want to show, you know, the body really works well when the foot has the heel on the ground. Okay, here the heel's on the ground, and so that's how I'm in this position with this anchor point. If my heel wasn't on the ground here, then my body would just collapse, okay? Because mechanically, I just need something to put on the ground as an anchor point, okay? Anyway, just, you know, if I'm like this, trying to be athletic on the balls of my feet, my ankle, it's hard. I mean, I'm like over exaggerating it slightly, but it's also hard because you have no support. But if you're back here, not necessarily externally rotated, because that's not gripping, but if you're not being on the balls of your feet, but instead opposing what people say and just having your feet flat on the ground, because that's all they could ever actually do to work, now you have motion here, here, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, back here, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, because you're neutral, your heels are on the ground, and that's how you're athletic, okay? Okay, anyway, that's enough visual for this, but that's the truth. Just don't believe me. It's so funny to say, but I don't want you to. I just want people to understand the truth. It's not about me. I mean, I couldn't take credit for any of this other than it's awesome to be able to explain it. That's amazing. Okay, anyway, flat. That's what I just showed there last. That's the big point. From heels on the ground, the most natural, most capable you could ever be, you have neutral to dorsiflexion or plantar flexion. There's only a neutral to the whole body. And so what I just showed back there before I, you know, walked up here, crawled up here, whatever I did, right? That's the takeaway. You have to allow all the motion on both sides of everything, or you limit the body entirely, you know, to just half of its motion. If your feet are not flat on the ground with your heels down, and you hear it so often in sports, they'll say, stay on the balls of your feet, stay on the balls of your feet, and they're blowing whistles at you, and they're like getting you to do drills, like, you know, running through certain obstacles and whatever, keeping your heels off the ground. They're taking away half of your body's function. There's no way to dorsiflex or lift the toes if you're always pointing your toes in what they say is an athletic stance, which doesn't give you any stability. Keep both ends on the ground, toes and heels, and you can grip the ground, the height of a gripped arch. That's not this video's title, but that's what I say. That is a video, right? But that's also just the point. Just the phrasing in itself is just something to focus on. Outsides of the feet, okay? It's humbling. I'm shocked that it's this dim lighting out here. It's fine, but I don't think it's anywhere near like sundown yet. And it seems like it's darker than it just would be with this amount of cloud cover. Interesting. Anyway, I love it. It's beautiful here. Thank you. Today's the 15th of November 2025. I am in this for life. I just make it so clear because there's no way this could be some startup company, you know. There's no way this could be just like an idea for something new to try. There's no way this could be conditional, if like, only if people are into what we do here. Everybody has one, okay? Everybody has a body, we can say it like that, same thing. The human body will never change in its workings, okay? And there's only one way the human body could ever work. Same thing for dogs, and we just do it for both, okay? Our information applies to all dogs. If we have things that are very specific to poodles, then there you go. But other than that, everything else just applies to all dogs, on letting dogs stay natural. Check us out, man. Stick around. We do a lot. We're a very personable company, based in God's truth, based in nature, based in the state of Utah, the southern end down here. It's just so beautiful, okay? Shout out to Zero Shoes. Like I said, we don't have any kind of like connection with them as of today's date or up until, but I've been shouting Zero Shoes out since the founding of In The Image Clothing Company, because they make really good, durable, beautifully designed shoes, and that's something I need just as a human being in life, to allow, like, well, this to happen, for example, okay? Just my body to work. And that's funny, because I didn't mean to say that as a segue into our company's slogan, but In The Image Clothing Company, allowing the body to work. That's the point. That's what we do. That's the whole, that is the slogan on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, right? One of our fourths. So, I just do it where I do, you know, and that's a lot of what we just try to do. That's what, you know, we'll always have good team members. Like I say, In The Image Clothing Company's team will always be amazing. And just giving people who are good people doing good things just credit for what they're doing, because that's great. We always need good people doing good things in life. It's not only, you know, that we would ever shout somebody out because we get compensation from them in some way, but just pointing people to, well, I mean, that's funny, right? Because just pointing people to God, that's the point. You know, pointing people to truth, pointing people to good things, pointing people to where they can get good things from brands and companies making good products. You know, I mean, that's the same thing as just pointing people to God, really, right? So there's just some great people out there doing great things, and that's what we're always trying to do as In The Image Clothing Company. Just be good people doing good things. So much through the gift of video. I call it the gift of video. I mean, it's a gift to be able to document these things and just have them be here forever. This video is eternally valid. The human body is designed in the image of God, and God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, okay? In The Image Clothing Company, that's all we're doing on the main side when it comes to allowing the body to work, is just getting back to God's design after alterations to the body. I mean, imagine, you don't have to imagine if you've been in a similar situation, but being within shoes that have a heel on them, right, and not keeping heels on the ground, this video's title, for however much time you've done that, you can just chronically shorten muscles. You're always stuck only on one end of your neutral, which is plantar flexion or pointing the toes, and that travels up your entire body into your jaw. We have so many videos and we put so much focus on the jaw under In The Image Clothing Company. The jaw stabilizes the entire body, and that starts from its very foundation on Earth's gravity at the feet. Okay, so the jaw's positioning, which goes into eating, speaking, breathing, stabilizing the entire body, and whatever else we could say the jaw does. It's a huge role that the jaw plays for the whole body, and it starts at the feet. And one of the most common things problem-wise in the feet in modern day that just couldn't have even ever possibly been something to have the ability to have as a problem until fairly recent times is having the heels of our feet off the ground. There was just no such thing as shoe designs the way that there are nowadays until there were. It's a man-made thing, it's new, okay? A lot of these things are new. In The Image Clothing Company's shoelacing technique is one of our 2 prerequisites, in addition to just where clothing sits to not alter the body. And then secondly, removing all tags from clothing. They're just new. That's our other prerequisite. they're either causing a physical gap, changing the body's only working position, and or they just don't allow musculature to activate. And so that's what I'm saying, you know, this, just wherever it is in the body, any alteration to anything function-wise in the human being alters the entire body. So we have to keep those heels on the ground. A lot of it, you know, is the chair heights. We have these heights of just man-made chairs that we just decided it should be this height. You know, most all chairs in modern America, at least, United States of America here, that I can speak out of personal experience with, you know, that I've seen and been around, they're just about all the exact same height, very close to it. And it doesn't work, you know. We put weight on the hamstrings on the rear of our legs, and we point our toes, essentially. You plantar flex your foot if you can't have your hamstring gripping to keep your foot neutral, okay? Anything in the body altered affects everything in the body with an alteration to its workings, okay? So there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of reasons why they started putting heels on shoes, you know, and it comes from the pant waistline, because the pelvis positioning, wait, it'd be more like this, right? You posteriorly tuck the pelvis, you dorsiflex the feet. You put the pelvis back to neutral, and then you anteriorly rotate the pelvis, you plantar flex the feet. So any pant waistlines falling any lower in the front just causes the feet to plantar flex or point at the toes. It's the same position as having a heel on your foot, have a heel of a shoe underneath it. And we need to have our heels on the ground. Okay, so if your pant waistline isn't even front to back, horizontal, then if it falls lower in the front, you point your toes. If it comes up in the front, you lift your toes, okay? So when we talk about where clothing sits, there's a reason to where we talk about clothing sits, and it's universal. There's no opinion, there's no body shape as far as how you carry fat that will determine how your clothing has to sit on you mechanically, physically, angle-wise on Earth's gravity when your body's just a machine. I mean, I couldn't do this, man. I couldn't sit here and think all this up and have a video like flow this well and make this much sense. I mean, I'm just doing all that I can to be obedient to God, you know, and the Spirit of God will just tell you all things which ye shall say, or whatever it's, you know, worded in the older language wording. But you know, that's what it means to be used as a vessel. Like I said, you know, that episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, God will speak through us. He will do things through us. He will use us as his mouthpiece, or as his instrument, as his, you know, way of getting his work done. He doesn't need us to do anything, but he allows us to like play a part in his grand plan, you know, I mean, because he's perfect, and so we'd want to. That'd be a great thing to do. Serve somebody who's perfect, and we serve a God who's perfect. Jesus Christ is someone who never makes mistakes. He's the creator of all things, and that's where we'll be the most fulfilled, is if not trying to take credit for anything. And the way that we can do that and have things even still be valid or matter is because there's only truth. And so aligning our will with God's, and, you know, just that's what we do under In the Image Clothing Company. I mean, just the titling alone, it allows us to be able to take ourselves out of it. We're designed in the image of God, and so we could never even take credit for anything. Talking about how God's design works, we're just talking about God's design of the human being. Any information I give that's valid, that works, that helps, it couldn't possibly be anything to do with me. And that's what I love so much, because I'm prideful. And then I can speak as bold as I want and point my fingers all I want. And it's not like I'm pointing fingers out of my opinions. And I'm not really pointing fingers, but I just, you know, I sound accusatious and I speak so bold and harsh because there's only truth. There's only one way the feet could ever work, stabilizing the entire body. And that's how you be athletic and in an active stance, is with your heels on the ground. And it's just backward from a lot of people's advice, but there's only truth. Advice doesn't matter. Truth is the only thing there is. Like I just said, it's raining. talk about, you know, buying this shirt on the way over here and not really knowing so much as to exactly why, other than it's a good shirt, it fits me well. Okay, $6 at a thrift store that I had never been into before. I cut the tags out and cut the pocket off right outside the store before I left, right after I bought it. And I walked over here straight from there. I'm in this for life, dude. And it's gonna be like this, you know, it's just real. I'm just here because this is how life is, you know. You turn the camera off and it's not like I go live a different kind of life than you see on camera. Nah, the goal is natural. I haven't said that within this, but on all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company. I mean, I said it because natural, neutral, and normal are synonyms within the functioning and our approaches to things and the only way that things actually work. And that's really what authenticity means, is just being natural. All right, I love it down here, man. Southern Utah. We're coming back down here. I just don't like currently live in southern Utah. I live up in Utah County. I'm moving down here. We'll build base camp for life, as I've been wording it. Our building will be down here where we can house the poodles. We can ship our products from. Our team can, you know, be down here with us, you know, and it'll just be great. It's already great. I love doing this as I'm doing it, but it's just me as of today's date, you know, for the little over a year that it's been since we've had In The Image Clothing Company, since me, Evan Strong, the founder, started doing this. It'll be awesome to have more people. And we'll just always have amazing people here at the team under In The Image Clothing Company. The dogs will always be such a big part of what we do. And they'll play into and bleed over, if you will, into all the other three sides of us. Right, all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company will incorporate poodles, because we'll have a lot of poodles. And we'll do a lot, you know, we'll give so much information. It's not just about so that we can have poodle puppies when we breed them. It's not just so we can have poodle parade events for like advertisement or whatever, you know. That's not what they're for. That's the point. That's what I'm saying is no, we do so much through poodles. You know, poodles really help people, dogs in general, but poodles especially. The reason we chose that specific breed, there's a lot of reasons as to why, and I've discussed that. You know, there's episodes of In The Image Clothing Company podcast talking about poodles and what's to come, poodle parade events, you know, our breeding program, how that will look, and, you know, the reasons as to why. But just know all these things that I'm talking about so much before they happen. You know, there's an episode of In The Image Clothing Company podcast titled "If You Build It, They Will Come." And that's why, you know, I'm just speaking on things to come, so when they come, people know what's here now. You know, there's all this background context, there's all this foundation. Episode 100 of In The Image Clothing Company podcast was titled "Laying a Foundation," and it still is titled that, by the way. They're numbered episodes. I mean, they'll always be there, as they are and in the order, right, that they're in and filmed in and posted in and just, you know, created in. So, anyway. Audio only and then visual plus audio. There's two forms of checking out In The Image Clothing Company podcast. And so I'm excited for the poodles. I mean, I talk about it. I've said it so many times up until today's date under In The Image Clothing Company content. You know, stick around for the poodles. More like just heads up, we'll have poodles down the road. You don't have to stick around, but if you'd like to, just know we will have them. But, you know, just how excited I am personally, and my heart's in it. You know, that's why we have that fourth of our company is because my heart's in it. Letting dogs stay natural, you know, we know what it's like to have our bodies altered, and our dogs don't have a say the way that we do as human beings. We take ownership of these dogs, and they're domesticated, and so we have to do all that we can to take care of the dog. The dogs can't do it for themselves. Our dogs can't groom themselves. That's a video I filmed at the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter up in Utah County. You know, it's on In The Image Clothing Company poodles. So just know there's going to be so much to all of this. There already is. But as I'm doing it and where I'm doing it, I'll always just say what I do about it. Check that out, okay? I mean, we're just here. Documentations is a lot of what we do. Your Life as a Journal is an episode title of In The Image Clothing Company podcast. Date marking things, and we'll have the team always date mark things where we do as well, right? But it's just about, you know, kind of just leaving a legacy behind, truly. Just like, what are we really doing? Let's just document what our lives are like and try to do all that we can to actually do things that matter while we're here. Because who knows how much time we have here on this earth, and we're all human beings. Okay. Always geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ. Always shouting out good brands and working with good brands, working with organizations, doing things for the health of the planet, as well as the dogs and the human beings. Just staying real, man, getting more real, getting deeper rooted and centered with our relationship with Jesus Christ. Debunking a lot of myths and, you know, like this, about the heels being on the ground, you know, keeping heels on the ground. Anyway, there's a lot to things, and we get into things deeply that we get into as In The Image Clothing Company. I mean, me, Evan Strong, as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, that's how I am. That's how we approach this. We're not here to try to tell you something that we say works and not explain why. We want to always do all that we can, just as human beings in life, to fully explain why we do anything, or else why would you do anything? Or why something is what it is, or else maybe it isn't. You know, there's only truth, and so we explain things thoroughly and deeply. We do things properly, unconventionally, you know, but very properly. There's all these birds around. Anyway, I don't know what time it is exactly. I guess maybe it is close to sundown. It's just, it's getting pretty dark for the, you know, filming a video with this camera the way that it is picking up the light. So it's fine, but it's just, again, a testament to just how we're real. We're just here. It's about the information, you know, it's about the truth, okay? Always about truth. That's another name for God, is the truth. And none of us could ever decide or determine what truth is. Truth is truth. It's apart from all of us, okay? God. The only thing that matters. I love this, just sitting in this riverbed. It's like very, very lightly sprinkling rain. All these birds are all making noise. The light's just getting dimmer, so the camera's kind of like fading out, you know? Yikes. There you go. Shout out to this button-up shirt. Well, check that out. It's raining. It might get slightly cold. I've got like maybe 3.5 miles, give or take, till I get home, you know, just walking. So I've got this long sleeve button up on. I would have just been in a t-shirt if I didn't buy this on my way out, you know, on my way over to here when I walked here. As I say, you know, this will be the case for anybody in the Image Clothing Company's team, and anybody who does what we talk about that is true, not just what we talk about, but anything we say that is true, which that's what we try to always only say, right, as imperfect human beings. But under In The Image Clothing Company, our information on allowing the body to work, you can watch my body's visual and physical transformation from where I was at whatever you're able to get access to, right? The very first documentation at our very founding date, back in 2024, the 23rd of November, no, the 23rd of September 2024, until any current date, you know, you can see how my body's changed and transformed as I've gotten out of these chronic patternings myself. That's the focus, that's the goal. Again, preaching what I have practiced, it's just, you know, I'm speaking things as they are. You can watch it happen, and everybody can do this to their own individual situation's ability, right? And that's the point. Yep. Universal truth. It is what it is. Here comes the rain. Man. Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Shout out to my mom for buying me these early Christmas present Zero shoes, the Ridgeway model. They're awesome, man. Yep, I'm gonna be walking home in the rain as long as it keeps raining, and now I've got a long sleeve shirt. So humbling. I'm so grateful to be in this situation, in this role. You know, always labeling myself as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. I'm in this for life, you know, as the one leading it and directing it, and you know, this is a big thing we're doing here. It applies to everybody, you know, and their dogs, truly, which is cool to say. So there you go, dude. There's your feet's workings. You know, we discussed the anatomy of the human body in depth, in such depth. Oh my gosh. Even that in itself, just the gift of the understanding of all that, you know, it's something I've been given by God, you know, through just prayer, revelation, trial and error, personal experience, you know. Man, shout out to the movement that I'm able to do, and just the ability to be able to move as a human being, just be able to walk. That's such a gift in itself. Just shouting good things out while these birds are just making all the noise that they're making. This is awesome, dude. I mean, this is like a dream come true to me. If I were to dream up a life to live, it's so funny. I mean, this is what I would want to be doing if I could be doing anything right now at all. And you can just probably tell the level of contentment I have just sitting here in this riverbed. It's amazing. Oh, shoot. It's awesome. All right. Well, watch us grow. Watch the progression, you know. Everybody loves a good underdog story. That's something I've said quite a bit in episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, for example, you know. Going from basically nothing to wherever we ever get. It's not about climbing some ladder, but, you know, getting closer to God. As we draw near to him, he'll draw near to us, and he's perfect and infinite, you know. And so you can just see things happen in the lives of those that do all that they can, again, in their imperfect ways, as we are always as human beings, to get closer to Jesus Christ. Shout out to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints too, you know. Okay, thank you. It's, like I said, the 15th of November 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, and this is, you know, a video under our main side titled Keeping Heels on the Ground. And that's actually how you be very, very athletic. I just don't want to cut it premature, but I'm just down here, just in this little riverbed in St. George, Utah. Utah native, brother. We live up Utah. If that's not clear by this video, I've said that before, you know. We do and always will just, you know, admire Utah for its beauty and its nature, its wildlife, and its landscapes, and just, you know, it's the place to be. Well, that's really what the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the place to be. But, you know, when the settlers came here that you know, settled Utah as it is today, the pioneers, Brigham Young himself, he said, this is the place, you know. Yeah, talk about it. That's what I talk about now. And he came here before I did. So, you got a problem with us? Stick around. You know, that's what I say. Deeper context brings deeper understandings. And boy, do we have deep context on what we do, as in the Image Clothing Company. That's the point. You know, discussing truth, it's something you can discuss thoroughly because it is just what it is. And so, dive into it. See if what we're saying lines up, if it's correct, if it's true. If it's not, oh, cool. We make mistakes, you know, but truth is truth, man. It's nothing to do with us. So, yeah. Keep those feet on the ground, man. Keep those heels on the ground. And you can walk. And you can grip the ground from your toes back to your heels. And your whole body can work up to the tip of your head and out to your fingertips. Because that's how God designed it. Now I've got this walk in this like nice fresh air because it rained a little bit. It's so nice out here right now. Holy cow. Man. Yeah. Anyway. Shoot. I love this. I just love this, man. I love it. It's so cool. Oh man. I mean, don't let the hard times in life diminish the joy, because that's where we have the ability to experience what I'm experiencing right now. I love this so much because the contrast, right? There's oppositions in all things, like we talk about within the gospel of Jesus Christ. None of this would be able to be like this if I hadn't experienced things that weren't like this, that made me like long for this. Like I said, this is a dream come true. Just what I'm doing right now, what this video is, you know, and how my body works, and where I am here in southern Utah. Oh man. The way that I'm able to be so grateful for all this is because I've had times in my life that were just absolutely miserable. And that's a good thing, because that helps us cherish things like this, you know. Cherish it. An episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. We need to really cherish things in our life that are good, because, you know, life's a fluctuation and it's a back and forth. It's something that we just have to battle through. And there's always both ends. So soaking up these moments like this, you know, it's just, it's essential. You have to. Because they're not promised. And so when you get them, yeah, I mean, hold on to it, you know. Realize the gifts that you have and that you're given when you have them and when you're given them, because it's a ride. You know, it's a life of up and downs. It's a life of fluctuations. It's a life of one day you're the most physically capable, fit person on the planet, and the next day maybe you break a leg or something, and the rest of your life is different. You know what I mean? If you don't, you need to, because this is the truth of all things. That's what I mean, the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's how we understand life, because that's what life is. It's another name for God is life. Right? Jesus Christ. It just is what it is, man. We're not out here preaching a religion. Our company's not based on some, man-made, way to try to worship something that we decided it's on the other end. God designed us. Let's worship Him. We're not trying to figure out what we could choose to focus on. There's only truth. That's it. You have to focus on it. Otherwise you can't focus. Otherwise you're all scatterbrained and lost and scared, and you don't know how to navigate life if you do not know Jesus Christ. And you can know Him without knowing His name, because He is all things. But that's why we preach and spread and share the gospel of Jesus Christ, which just means the good news of God. Because God is. Anywhere, everywhere, in all places you could ever possibly go to, physically or in your mind or your emotions or anywhere, trek, as far as you want. God is. He's the same everywhere. He's the creator of all things. We're designed in His image. And it's stuff like this, I didn't know I was going to speak this little message here at the end of this video, but I just knew I didn't need to cut it quite yet, and now I've given this little message in the same video. So, it's just what it is, man, and this is how we'll be, that's the goal. With the goal being natural, it's not like, let's try to make some really high production value video and work on it for so long, but that's not actually who we are behind the scenes. It's about authenticity, man. Always. Okay? So thank you. I just do not want to cut it prematurely. I don't want to get in my own way. That's what I mean. We get in our own ways. Our own worst enemy is an episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, and we get in our own way as human beings. And if I would have cut this earlier, then this message wouldn't be in here, And a lot of times we just feel like we gotta make things quick and short and done and on to the next thing. And really, if you're always just trying to be done, well, once you're done with life, you're done with life. It's actually about cherishing things and having things last and slowing down, taking time with things. Again, there's no end to approach it on that you could choose from. No, there's only truth. There's only the amount of time that we have. And just making a video for the sake of making a video, so you can go make another video and make another video. That's not going to fulfill you. And, that's something I understand, but I still need to be humbled with. Like I was just explaining, I sometimes try to cut things because I'm like, okay, I did it, I said it good. I don't want it to end worse than it has been throughout it so far. And so, well, I'm on a high note, let's hurry and cut it. And, right? Sometimes I'm like that. And sometimes I just, think there's something else I need to go do or, whatever. And I just almost cut things premature sometimes. God, that's crazy, man, because we're just here. That idea of leaving a legacy, something I never really thought of growing up, but the more that I don't try to leave a legacy behind, I'm leaving a legacy behind. It's like this. That's what I mean. Don't try to make it something so professional that's not authentic, and then you're just authentic. And that's what everybody's searching for anyway. Yeah. That's really what lasts. That's really the truth, right? That's really the true you. Man. Anyway, I'm just so grateful. I've been given so many opportunities and so many things in my life. And it's ridiculous. Because I don't deserve it. Ever. In the grand scheme of things, we don't deserve anything as human beings. But God still gives us stuff that we could never actually thank Him for in a way that would really make a difference. It's nuts. It's amazing. I'm almost tearing up. You can't really see my face all that well, probably, but it's just really cool. I mean, this is really what it means, to live in the moment, to reflect on what's going on. You go to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and I'm thinking about when the poodles come, and I'm thinking about all the videos we can make and what we'll do down the road. No, we gotta stay here. Because, you're only ever now. When you get there, you're only there because now you're there. Wait, now you're there, right? I mean, this is the kind of stuff we talk about in the Image Clothing Company podcast. I literally tripped. I stuttered a little bit in my wording, and then I literally tripped with my foot. Because this is the gospel of Jesus Christ. This is what it means to be in the Image Clothing Company. Okay? The focus is on those first three words, because we're designed in the image of Jesus Christ. And don't believe me, but stick around if you got a problem with it. If you think you know something better, if you think you got a problem with religion, that's fine. I'm not religious. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is just the place we go to uncover the truth of life. It's almost a challenge to not believe things and just see what's left. There's only truth. That's really the focus. It's always on the back end. God's always been there. Before there was an opportunity to believe in anything, God created you to be able to have opportunities. And it's so simple. The simplistic explanation and the simplistic nature of God. It's always so easy to see, easy to explain, or at least simple to see and simple to explain. But a lot of times the simplest things in life can be the hardest. So no, I guess it's not easy necessarily, but it certainly is simple. That's a lot of what we do, right? Minimalism and simplicity, and that's, what we're founded upon as In The Image Clothing Company. Light, minimal, simple, do everything clothing, do everything dog products, breeding dogs to be able to do everything. Well-rounded, do everything, purebred standard poodles, and then just living our lives as, well-rounded, do everything that we could need to or come up into or up to or against kind of lives. We do that by centering our lives on Jesus Christ. So, before you got us figured out and think that we're just a clothing company, there is 4 sides too in the Image Clothing Company. And we're so much more than you might think on the surface. And now I'm in a tunnel again. Yeah. Southern Utah, brother. It's home to me. It's where I feel home. It's where my heart lives and sits, and where I just mesh. It's where my lifestyle meshes with the landscape. It's where the poodles can yeah, stick around for the poodles. The poodles will have such a good time out here. I mean, poodle parade events down here where there's just about no snow in southern Utah versus a lot of other parts of Utah. It gets very, very, very snowy. I wouldn't miss the snow if I never saw it again. Just times and places, and it's something that's just not for me, So, stick around. We'll build, we'll grow, and not for the sake of just popularity, but for the sake of spreading what we can do through this and who we can help and how we can change lives of human beings and dogs. And we'll get to have a lot of beautiful experiences along the way. Oh man. I just never could have expected this video to be what it is by any means. Holy cow. I mean, as of this morning, I didn't even have the money that I bought this shirt with. Oh my gosh. It's just life, that's what it means to be living on daily bread, a principle that God commands us to do, just one thing at a time. Only get what you need in the time you need it. Like all these messages and metaphors and explanations through parables of what life truly is. It's the truth of all things. It's the gospel. It's the good news in a world full of terrible. Oh, shoot. And it's being given to us by the creator of the world itself. God, I mean, Jesus Christ, the one who knows all, the one who has the answers when we sure need them. Every time we could possibly need them, every answer we could possibly ask for, he'll give it to us, if he needs us to have it, and he's perfect. And I could just, have the rest of my life be what it's going to. Check that out, right? That's the case. I mean, that's why In The Image Clothing Company is what it is because I'm able to just be me through it. I'm able to just make a difference. It's so funny, such a cliche, but it's all we need. It's just to make a difference. Differing from the world to a more godly kind of life. It's crazy because growing up, I always just said I wanted to help people. And, being this entrepreneurial In The Image Clothing Company founder, it's
something I never could have imagined until it just happened. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. I'm in this for life, man. Just remember it, you know? I mean, we got to remember these humble beginnings, too, where, you know, you've got just about nothing. Even when it seems like one day you could have basically anything you ever wanted at your fingertips, you know? Where did you start? Where did you come from? How did you get there? And what was the journey like? And who brought you through it? Because you didn't do it. Not alone. All of a sudden I'm rhyming a little bit, you know. Check out Metronome Madness on the Image Clothing Company Music if you'd like to. We're on episode 39, and I just do a lot of freestyling, lyricism like that, just off tempo. As I walk around like this is what a lot of it's been, at least up until now. So, up until today's date, right? Golly. It's really cool. It's really cool. I mean, this could be the last video I ever film. This could be the last night I ever have. What does it really mean to leave a legacy, you know? Is it once you've made it to the very top, you know, where you thought you'd get maybe finally one day? Or is it about every little step along the way? I mean, we hear stuff like this and we think it's like movie quotes sometimes, you know? It's just like motivational things, you know? This is life. This is the truth of all things, man. It's sitting in a riverbed that has no water in it. Yeah. See what I mean? I just have so much gratitude for what I've stumbled across here. I mean, unexpected roads, you know, that's how we meet God in places we never could have imagined. Doing things that don't seem like, you know, yeah. God, yeah, I mean, that don't seem like ways that we could get to God. I mean, God is all. He'll get to you if you're going to allow him to. It's up to you. It's on your end. God comes if we allow him in. You know, he stands at the door and knocks, and we just have to be willing to open the door and let him in. And he'll come and dine with us. He'll come and share a meal with us. He'll come and comfort us with his Spirit. The second comforter of God is the Holy Spirit. He dwells within us, you know, when we're allowing ourselves to be open to godly ways of living, to put the world aside and do things that God would ask of us, you know, to the best of what we can. We're always imperfect in this life. That's why we need him. Someone who's perfect, someone who can not just make up the difference, but, you know, pretty much do the entire thing as we just try to scrape ourselves up off the whatever it is we've fallen down onto at any time in our life. Anyway. It just is what it is, man. And sometimes we could not even believe it. So don't. What's the truth? Right? Believe it or not, don't. That's an episode title of the Image Clothing Company podcast. Don't believe it. Don't believe me. What happens if you don't? Then we find out what the truth actually is. That's all we wanted the whole time anyway, because that's all that was ever actually there. Yeah. I'm grateful, man. I mean, to say the very least. But the most that I could do is always just the very least. when it comes to doing anything for God. It's so crazy. It's such a weird kind of life we live. Everybody, whether you're taking this path, that path, some other path, any path you could try to discuss. I mean, who gave you the ability to take a path in the beginning? I don't mean your parents, because a lot of you don't have very good relationships with your parents, and that's something a lot of us can relate to. So who really gave you the opportunities? When good things happen, where do they come from? What's really the truth of life? Who really is the creator of all this? How is it here? How is it all just working and happening? Well, ask. Ask God and he'll answer you. The universe has a name. That's an episode title of the Image Clothing Company podcast. And Jesus Christ is the universe. If you want to try to look at it like that, you know, as if there's some universe out there. Well, that's just God doing all that he does. And he has a name. Otherwise, how do we get down to who he is? Because everyone would say something different if we don't have something to point to. He's our North Star. That's another episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. North Star. Yeah. God. The thing that never changes when we always do. We think we've stumbled across something that's exactly how it is, that opposes the last thing that we said was exactly how it is. There's always still God. Underlying everything else. Unchanging. The same always. And that's the truth. But don't believe me. Okay? So. Let me climb up out of this. And emerge out of this tree. All right. How real can it get? Because everything's just real unless we try to make it be something. There's only truth until we try to come up with something to believe. And there's always God, even when we think that that is not what or who we need. When Jesus Christ is all you have, you'll realize he's all you need. I mean, that's something that people have said many times. I've heard it from many different people, and that is the truest statement that they could ever possibly be, because God is the truth. So, anyway. I don't want to ever hold back, thinking, if I don't say this, would that be better? This idea of I'd rather say too much than not enough, because you only have the amount of opportunities you have until you don't. And if you ever felt like you should have said something that you didn't, it's nothing you need to beat yourself up for, but we fear saying too much, and sometimes that leads us to feeling silenced. And I'd rather just make a lot of mistakes than hold back and not have potentially done or said something great. So, condemn me for what I have said. I say that often because I've said it. I can't take it back. But I also could never go back and re-say something that I felt like I should have. So, thank you. I tried to cut it and it didn't cut. I just want it to be as real as it is. We're always going to make mistakes. We're always going to say things wrong. We're always going to wish that we could have said something better than we did, or that we didn't say something that maybe we feel wrong about later. And whatever end of anything, we only have this life. And what are we going to do with it, really? What are we really going to do while we're here? Because it either matters or it doesn't. And isn't that hard to hear? But it's the truth. Let's make a life that matters in all the ways that we can. Just do all that we can. Like I'm saying, a lot of the time that really means maybe saying more than we should have, because at least we didn't leave things unsaid. You've always got the opportunity to repent, but you've never got the opportunity to go back and do something that you didn't do. Is that crazy or what? All of a sudden we go from that beautiful nature to being here in a little bit more of the town area. There's noise around and there's things happening. It's a different environment, it's still the same life. What's underlying all of it? In between, God, Jesus Christ is always there. Because you are still here, and how'd you get here? I mean, we always go back. It's always the back end. It's always before what happened. What about before that? What about before that? Well, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and he created everything, and he was there before anything else. He's still there, and he'll be there after. So, yeah. That's a big thing with Do Everything Clothing is I'm in a long sleeve button up shirt and I can just move around so well and easily, you know? I mean, that's the whole thing is we're always just a human being. There's always only one way the human body could ever work. Anything we wear all the time that we could ever possibly wear something, it needs to be able to allow our bodies to work all the time, no matter what. Yeah. That's cool. Documentation, date marked, you know, showing the visuals, explaining what I do. I'm just here. When was I here? What was I doing? Does it matter at all? Well, if I can have it matter, then that'd be the ideal. Yep. All right. Oh, shoot. Yeah. I mean, what really happens when the camera turns off, you know? With anybody's video you watch, ever, I want to live a life where there's no question. And that comes from serving the very God who created you, who has all the answers. So, that was a fun experience. Filming what I did there in that riverbed. Don't ever come to any events for me or anybody at the team. Just come and have a good time. Let's just congregate together. But in the Image Clothing Company events, it's not about us. It's about gathering people together. So yeah, keep the focus off of us and you know, the intentions in the right place. Oh shoot. But know it'll be huge as well, right? And I've been saying it since the very founding. In the Image Clothing Company has been, and always will be huge. Don't believe me. Don't give me credit. Please. By all means, please. I'm prideful enough already. You know what I mean? Oh, shoot. That's awesome. Wow. Shout out to Jeff Cavalier with Athlean X. I feel like I should. Okay, I'm gonna say that right now. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. That's cool. If I ever give more context on that, and you know, then cool. But there you go. Thank you.